Hare Krishna. Today we'll be discussing the translation and explanation of Bhagavad-Gita, Chapter 1, Text 16, 17 and 18. King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell. The Ananta Vijaya and Nakula and Sahadeva blew their conch shells. Shughosha and Manipushpaka. The great archer, the king of Kasi, the great fighter, Shikandi, Dushadimna, Virata, and the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and others, O king, such as the son of Subhadra, greatly armed, all blew their respective conch shell. Sanjaya informed King Dhritarashtra very tactfully that his unwise policy of deceiving the sons of Pandu and endeavoring to enthrone his own sons on the seat of the kingdom was not very laudable. The signs already clearly indicated that the whole Kuru dynasty would be killed in that great battle, beginning with the grandsire Bhishma, down to the grandsons like Abhimanyu and other including kings from any state of the world. All were present there, and all were doomed. The whole catastrophe was due to the king Dhritarashtra, because he encouraged the policy followed by his sons. Text 19. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, and thus vibrating both the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. When Bhishma and others on the side of Duryodhana blew their respective conch shells, there were no heartbreaking on the part of the Pandavas. Such occurrences are not mentioned, but the particular verse in this mention that the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra were shattered by the sounds vibrated by the Pandavas' party. This is due to the Pandavas and the confidence in Lord Krishna. One who takes the shelter of Supreme Lord has nothing to fear, even the mid-set of the greatest calamity. Text 20. O king, at the time of Arjuna, the son of Pandu, who was seated in his chariot, his flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows, looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra. O king, Arjuna then spoke to Hrishikesha, Krishna, these words. The battle was just about to begin. It is understood from the above statement that the sons of Dhritarashtra were more or less disheartened by the unexpected arrangement of military force by the Pandavas, who were guided by the direct instructions of Lord Krishna on the battlefield. The emblem of Hanuman on the flag of Arjuna is another sign of victory, because Hanuman cooperated with Lord Rama in the battle between Rama and Ravana, and Rama emerged victorious. Now both Rama and Hanuman were present on the chariot of Arjuna to help him. Lord Krishna is Rama himself, and wherever Lord Rama is, his eternal servitor Hanuman and his eternal consort Sita, the goddess of fortune, are present. Therefore Arjuna had no cause of fear any enemies whatsoever. And above all, the Lord of the senses, Lord Krishna, was personally present to give him a direction. Thus all good counsel was available to Arjuna in the matter of executing the battle in such auspicious conditions, arranged by Lord for his eternal devotee, lay the signs of assured victory. Text 21 and 22. Translation. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies, so that I may see who is present here, who is desirous to fighting, and with whom I must contend in this great battle attempt. Although Lord Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, out of his causeless mercy, he was engaged in the service of his friend. He never fails in his affection for his devotees, and thus he is addressed herein as infallible one. The charioteer, he had to carry out the orders of Arjuna, and since he did not hesitate to do so, he is addressed as infallible. Although he had accepted the position of a charioteer of his devotee, his supreme position was not challenged. in all circumstances. He is the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, Hrishikesha, the Lord of the total senses. The relationship between the Lord and his servitor is very sweet and transcendental. The servitor is always ready to render a service to the Lord, and similarly, the Lord is always seeking an opportunity to render some service to the devotee. He takes greater pleasure in his pure devotees, assuming the advantageous position of ordering him than he does in being the giver of orders. As a master, everyone is under his orders, and no one is above him to order him. But when he finds that the pure devotee is ordering him, he obtains the transcendental pleasure, although he is the infallible master of all circumstances. As a pure devotee of Lord, Arjuna had no desire to fight with his cousins and brothers, but he was forced to come into the battlefield by the obstinacy of Duryodhana, who was never agreeable to any peaceful negotiation. Therefore, he was very anxious to see who or the leading person present on the battlefield were. Although there was no question of peacemaking endeavor on the battlefield, he wanted to see them again and see how much they were bent upon demanding the unwanted war. Text 23. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. It was an open secret that Duryodhana wanted to usurp the kingdom of Pandavas by evil plans, in collaboration with his father Dhritarashtra. Therefore, all persons who had joined the side of Duryodhana must have been birds of the same feather. Arjuna wanted to see them in the battlefield before the fight was begun, just to learn who they are, but he had no intention to proposing peace negotiations with them. It was also fact that he wanted to see them to make an estimate of the strength which he had to face, although he was quite confident of victory because of Krishna was sitting in his side. Text 24. Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata. Being thus addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midset of the armies of the both parties. In the verse, Arjuna is referred to as Gudakesha. Gudaka means sleep, and one who conquers sleep is called Gudakesha. Sleep also means ignorance, so Arjuna conquered both sleep and ignorance because of his friendship with Krishna. As a great devotee of Krishna, he could not forget Krishna even for a moment, because that is the nature of a devotee, either in waking up or in sleep. A devotee of the Lord can never be free from thinking of Krishna's name from quality and the pastime. Thus, a devotee of a Krishna can conquer both sleep and ignorance simply by thinking of Krishna constantly. This is called Krishna Consciousness or Samadhi, as Hrishikesha or the director of the senses and in mind of every living entity. Krishna could understand Arjuna's purpose in placing the chariot in the midset of the armies. Thus he did so as spoke as follows. Text 25 translation. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all other chief of the world, Hrishikesha, the Lord said, Just behold Partha, all the Kurus were all assembled here. As a super soul of all living entities, Lord Krishna could understand what was going on the mind of Arjuna. The use of the word Hrishikesha in this connection indicates that he knew everything, and the word Partha or the son of Kunti or Partha is also similarly significant in reference to Arjuna. As a friend, he wanted to inform Arjuna that because Arjuna was the son of Partha, the sister of his own father Vasudeva, he had agreed to be the charioteer of Arjuna. Now, what did Krishna mean when he told Arjuna to behold the Kurus? Did Arjuna want to stop there and not fight? Krishna never expected such things from the son of his aunt Partha. The mind of Arjuna was thus predicated by the Lord in a friendly joking. Text 26. There Arjuna could see within the midset of the armies of both parties his father, grandfathers, teachers, material uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his father-in-law as a well-wishers, all present there. On the battlefield, Arjuna could see all kinds of relatives. He could see persons like Buriswara, who were his father's contemporaries, grandfathers Bhishma and Samadatta, teachers like Dronacharya, Kripacharya, maternal uncles like Salya and Sakuni, brothers like Duryodhana, sons like Lakshmana, friends like Ashwadhama, well-wishers like Kratavarma, etc. He could see all the armies which contained many of his friends. Text 27. When the son of Kunti Arjuna saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with the compassion, and he spoke to the Lord Krishna in such a way. Text 28. Translation. Arjuna said, "My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body shivering and my mouth drying up. Any man who has genuine devotion to the Lord has all the good qualities which are found in godly persons or in the demigods. Where the non-devotee, however advanced he may be in material qualification by education and culture, lacks in godly qualities. As such, Arjuna, just after seeing his kinsmen, friends and relatives in the battlefield, was at once overwhelmed by compassion for them who had so decided to fight amongst themselves. As far as his soldiers were concerned, he was sympathetic from the beginning, but he felt compassion even for the soldiers for the opposite party, foreseeing their imminent death, and so thinking the limbs of his body began to shiver and his mouth became dry. He was more or less astonished to see their fighting spirit, particularly the whole community or blood relatives of Arjuna had come to fight with him. This overwhelmed a kind of devotee like Arjuna. Although it is not mentioned here, still one can easily imagine that not only were Arjuna's body limbs shivering and his mouth drying out, but that he was also crying out of compassion. Such a symptoms in Arjuna were not due to weakness, but out of his soft-heartedness, a characteristic of a pure devotee of the Lord Krishna. It is said, therefore. That ends the text 28 explanation from the chapter 1. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.